Welcome to the Custer County Political Forum, brought to you by Bank of Western Oklahoma. Here's your moderator, Todd Bruner.
Well, good evening, everybody. Here we are, just about a week away from voters going to the polls to cast ballots for several offices here in Western Oklahoma. Of course, we've got sales tax propositions around the county and a couple of state questions. But tonight, we're going to focus on what's happening here in Custer County. Our political forum brought to you tonight by the Bank of Western Oklahoma. We appreciate those folks being involved in everything local going on. Tonight, our focus, the Republican primaries for Custer County Sheriff and Custer County Commissioner District 2. Now, just a reminder, these are Republican primaries, but there are no Democratic or independents running for either office, so the winner of the sheriff's race will be elected. And in the commissioner's race, if no candidate receives more than 50% of the vote, top two candidates with the most votes in that race will meet in a runoff on August 25th. I would like to welcome in our first segment, and we have the two candidates for Custer County Sheriff. We have our incumbent, Kenneth Tidwell, and we have Dan Day, who is his challenger. And good evening to both of you guys.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Appreciate you guys joining us tonight. And a little bit on the rules. What we're going to do is give each of you equal time tonight. So you'll have the same questions. You'll each have 90 seconds to answer those questions, and we will rotate who answers first. So we'll go back and forth. And at the end, each of you will have a 2-minute closing statement. So if we're ready to go, we're going to get going. So first of all, Sheriff Tidwell, kind of introduce yourself to the voters of Western Oklahoma. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Thank you, Todd. My name is Kenneth Tidwell. I'm the incumbent sheriff. I was born and raised over next door in Roger Mills County in Cheyenne, Crawford. Went to high school at Radin. From there, did a year at Southwestern at Sayre, and then went to my daddy's alma mater at Goodwill at Oklahoma Panhandle State University, where I was going to get a associate's degree in criminal justice. And while I was there studying in school, I wound up getting a job with the Guyman Police Department. So I figured, well, I've got a job being a cop. I don't need to go to school anymore. So that's what I started doing full time. And from there, I came here in 1994 and been working for the Custer County Sheriff's Office ever since.
All right. That is Sheriff Kenneth Tidwell. His challenger tonight is Dan Day. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Thank you. I'm a long lifetime citizen of Custer County. My family is all here in Custer County. I went to school here in Clinton and Custer County, and I've been around this county pretty much all my life except for the times that I spent in education. And I have worked since 1976 under every sheriff that we have had to the current in my law enforcement career. And I've worked as a patrolman in the police department for Weatherford and Clinton, and most all of my time has been with the sheriff's office. And I was a leader in the drug task force, the first one that was ever in Western Oklahoma, and I was in that several years while working for the sheriff's office. I also have a business that I get to make a living, law enforcement. I've worked in the fire service as well. As a retired firefighter I am. But that didn't really ever make any money, so I had to have a business to be able to make a living for my family.
All right, Dan, thank you so much. And as we rotate the questions tonight, basic question here to start off. Dan, we'll go with you first. Why do you think you're the best candidate for Custer County Sheriff?
I believe I'm the best candidate for the office of sheriff because of my experience, the years of experience I have, for my attitude of servanthood to the public. I have a long track record of being a servant here in Custer County. I have a passion for that and a desire to see us be the very best that we can be. And I feel like my leadership ability and my administrative ability will push us forward to make us the very best sheriff's office that we can have in this part of the state. And I'm excited to look at the opportunity of that. I like a challenge, and I'm a problem solver. I'm good at multitasking. And so I enjoy doing those things and making a challenge, but I also stay cool, calm, and collective when I'm under stress. So I believe that my ability and as being a leader in the fire department and in law enforcement, being the head of a department there too, and with my business experience to be able to help our budget, I believe that makes me the best candidate.
All right, that is Dan Day, the incumbent. Sheriff Tidwell, same question. Why should voters choose you to continue in your current job?
Well, like I had mentioned before, I've been with the Custer County Sheriff's Office since 1994, so a little over 25 years working there, and I've worked my way up from being a patrol deputy to a supervisor for the patrol deputies. Was undersheriff, and for the last 3.5 years as sheriff. I understand the ins and outs of county government and finance and the responsibilities of the sheriff's office to its citizens, and also how we interact with other county offices. I work well with the courts, the district attorney's office. I believe I have a good relationship with the county commissioners, and to work together to solve issues that come up to benefit the citizens of Custer County. So I'm there. I'm doing the job. I've been doing it for the last 3.5 years. I was also interim sheriff for 8 months back in 2008. So it's not strange to me. It's just I'd like to continue my career with the Custer County Sheriff's Office and keep serving as sheriff.
All right, you're listening to the Custer County Political Forum. 2 segments tonight. It's all brought to you by Bank of Western Oklahoma. We're talking with the 2 candidates for the sheriff's race in the county. Coming up at 6:30, we're going to be joined by the 3 candidates for Custer County Commissioner. It's an open seat coming up, District 2. Back to the sheriff's questions, and we'll start with you right now, Sheriff Tidwell. Obviously, with COVID-19 and the downturn in the oil and gas industry, budget situation is very tight right now. Is there a way that maybe the sheriff's department could become even more efficient during this economic downturn? Do you have some thoughts on that?
Well, this last budget process, we were asked, because of the downturn in the economy and lower sales tax revenues being projected, we were asked to cut $200,000 out of our budget, and we took a look at that and found that really the only place to do that would be like capital outlay, which purchases vehicles and equipment and things like that. We're already, in my opinion, we're already at minimum staffing levels, so. Laying off individuals whenever you're already at minimum staffing levels just didn't make sense. So that's the area where we decided to make the adjustment to help with the budgeting process. We can only spend what they give us, and like I said, with sales tax revenues being projected to be less, and also our sheriff's fee account is projected to be less. It's just going to have to be a matter of tightening the belt and watching the pennies this coming fiscal year, so we can get through it. Hopefully, things will improve, and we can get back to replacing those old patrol units that our deputies are driving, and that's what we'll have to do.
Great, Mr. Day. Efficiencies that you think could be found in the sheriff's department currently during an economic downturn like we're facing?
Well, I believe our next budget is fully funded. It's the next one around that's going to be really critical for us, and I feel like that in our department we do work with sometimes the very minimum that we can do, but a sheriff as a leader and an administrator, I believe could help promote the sales tax base in our communities by promoting our businesses, being involved in the chambers and economic development. That's part of our job, is we serve the citizens, and the tax base pays all of our salaries. So why wouldn't you want to be a part of trying to help build that tax base so that we can continue to be able to fund our budgets and give the citizens the protection that we need? There's no one thing that you can just pull a string on to knock out of the sheriff's budget, but there's a lot of things you could do to be on board of getting our tax base built up and having the opportunity to work with business and the mayors and the city councils and our commissioners and excise board to make sure that our sales tax stays solid, that the next time around when it's time to vote on that, we need to make sure that that happens and be all about that, so that the money that we do have that's entrusted to us, we can spend wisely.
We're doing the Custer County Political Forum, talking to both candidates for Custer County Sheriff, Dan Day, the challenger, Sheriff Kenneth Tidwell, who is the incumbent, and we're going to stick with kind of budget stuff right now. Obviously, one of the biggest expenses in any department, any business, obviously usually the biggest one is personnel, and the jail, we know in the county, obviously because of all the mandates and the regulations, you have to have a lot of staffing, and that jail is 24 hours a day. We have some neighboring counties that have some newer jails, or maybe just jails that aren't filled as well. Any thought about going forward? Would we look at possibly regional jails instead of each county having their own jail? We'll go with you first, Dan.
You know, there is some regional jails and facilities around. We're a big area in western Oklahoma. The problem that I would see with that would be how we would balance each particular department's funding. What part of that budget of that doing the regional jail would we be able to do? One might think that they're not fair. We might not be paying our fair share. The other might saying they're paying too much. So I see a problem with that. The concept of a regional jail is good. We could utilize personnel to the best level that we could. It would be, if it could be centrally located where it was fair for all of the county sheriff's offices that's going to use that to do, I think that would work. But it would take a lot of time and effort to study that to make sure that that would be profitable for our county.
Sheriff Tidwell, your thoughts on the possibility of regional jails?
Well, I agree with Dan, what Dan just said. Also, there could be an Oklahoma Constitution issue with that, because I believe the Constitution mandates that each county shall have a county jail. So that might have to be something that would be changed. And also, it would be fine if that regional jail was right next door to our courthouse, where we didn't have to travel 100 miles to go get an inmate just to bring him from court to turn around and travel and take him back. So there's cost efficiency issues and things like that. In the future, it might be a possibility, but I think it's a long time coming.
Talking with both candidates for Custer County Sheriff, the incumbent, Sheriff Kenneth Tidwell, and Dan Day, his challenger. Big thanks to Bank of Western Oklahoma for sponsoring our political forum. The Custer County Commissioners joining us in about 15 minutes for District 2. Okay. Listening to some of the political ads out there, there's been some discussion about possibly having a regional sheriff's office, maybe a satellite office in Weatherford. Sheriff Tidwell, your thoughts on that?
I don't think it's practical. In my opinion, if we had a regional or a sub office in Weatherford, it would never be manned because of the current manpower situation that the sheriff's office has. that person will always be out of the office going and taking care of the stuff that needs to be taken care of. You'd either have to get more money appropriated and hire an extra person to man that office, or move somebody that's already working from their regular duties to man that office. So to me, it's impractical, and I don't think it would work.
Okay. Dan Day, your thoughts on possibly having a satellite office in a city like Weatherford?
I disagree with that. That in the full-time years that I worked in the sheriff's office, which was a lot, we always had an office in Weatherford. We had a field office in Weatherford. And the city of Weatherford and the Chief Lewis have been grateful and open-hearted about doing that again, because we did it for many, many years, and we didn't have those problems. We had a lot less staff than they do now, and still the same responsibilities. So having a field office in Weatherford will not cost us any more in our budget, but it would provide an office space to, when we have calls and things to report writing, interviews, and things that we don't have to drive to Arapahoe to do. The real thing is Weatherford is our largest community and tax base in our county. We've had a field office here before, and I believe an invested person dedicated to Weatherford, yeah, he's going to have to not be there all the time, that's for sure, but it's easy to work around. But I think Weatherford deserves to have someone in their community that's a part of that community, invested in their schools, in the civic clubs, in the businesses, and knows exactly what the heartbeat is here in Weatherford. And so I'm all for that.
Let's turn our attention to crime. Obviously, we have our share of crime here in western Oklahoma. Mr. Day, what do you perceive to be the biggest crime problem in Custer County, and how do we fight back against it?
Well, drugs is still a big problem in our county. And fighting against that is, I see the opportunity for us to have a canine dog again, to be able to work the interstate, to get some of those drugs off that we really did good with when we had one. It made available funds to us. I also see the opportunity to use that drug dog to deter the drugs around the schools and in the schools. And I think that drugs, it just has to be worked. You can't just drive down the street and get call after call and say, well, these people are doing drugs at this house, and not do something about it. You can't just turn your head. We have to actively work on that. But in the county, there's the same problem with the drugs, but we also have a huge theft problem, especially with here lately with the economic downturn, and theft has always been a problem in our county. And I promote more patrol in our county, not in our cities. I believe we're a support office for the police departments that we already have. And so I believe that there's definitely ways to address those crime issues in a different way that we're doing now.
Sheriff Tidwell, biggest crime threat facing western Oklahoma and solutions?
Well, again, I agree with Dan that drugs is an issue, and that's something that we always want to try and combat. The rural thefts have certainly increased, and due to the economic downturn, people have lost their jobs, and they're trying to make ends meet, or get money to buy their drugs, I guess. So what we do is we try to get our guys out in the county, patrolling as much as possible in between serving papers and taking reports and things like that. Being seen, stopping a lot of cars, just see who's out there and what they're doing and why they're there. that's how we lower those theft rates, is just being seen and things like that.
Talking with our candidates for Custer County Sheriff. Next question, I'll start with you, Sheriff. And this is something that in my 50-something years of Western Oklahoma, I think it's common in all counties with different departments. You have the Sheriff's Department, obviously has usually the biggest budget in each county. And then you have the county commissioners that are kind of overseers, along with the excise board, kind of in charge of dealing it all out. And it seems like over the years, there's always been a little contention between, commissioners, sheriffs, excise board. How do we work together, realizing that there's only so much money out there and we all have to get along, right?
Well, there's been contention in the past, and I, the issue that I had was that I didn't believe that that the proper funding was coming from the right funding source for the jail. That was addressed. And we worked on it, and there was ideas brought forth about the sheriff's office using a certified public accountant to take a look at our numbers, so that the excise board and the commissioners could be assured that those numbers were as accurate as possible. Are showing where those funds are going. And what we were having to pay for and things like that. So I've been, I feel, in the last 2 years, nothing but cooperative with the efforts of the excise board. I've been communicating with the commissioners. In fact, probably I'm at 99% of the commissioner meetings, available for their questions, and if they have any issues, that they can address it with me, and we can sit down and figure something out. So,
all right, Mr. Day, relationships with county commissioners, excise board.
Imperative. We have to have that. That's the county commissioners meet usually every Monday morning. And an open line of communication to them and the excise board is something that we have to have. It's a team effort. It's not just them. We have to work as a team. And sometimes we have issues that come up, but we can't fight about it, or we can't have a lawsuit over it. We have to use dialogue to work those things out. We have to be able to have the wherefore to know our limitations as well. So I feel like the commissioners and the excise board, they want more information. I think we ought to have a spreadsheet every time you go in that meeting, so that they know exactly where our budget is every time. I think we need to show them that we are wholly invested in spending our money to the very best of our ability. The excise board and the commissioners do a great job, and all they ask for is just a little bit of cooperation and dialogue with them and some input. I think we ought to always input anytime that you're asked, and be prepared to do that and know what you're talking about.
Just about ready for closing comments, but one final question, and we probably don't even have to go 90 seconds each on this, probably a 30-second response, but it's probably not something we're hearing too much about here in Custer County. But as law enforcement officers, and we'll start with you, Dan, what goes through your mind when you hear calls around the country to defund the police? How does that make you feel?
Well, it's crazy, and I'd like to watch it on YouTube when they do that, because there's going to be some really good shows there when they're looting and killing and doing all the things that they're going to do. We don't have that. We live in such a blessed area of the country. Our people are good. They're caring. We share. We care about our neighbors. We don't have that out here. I don't that will not happen out here. And not only do we have good law enforcement, good fire service, good EMS, good people all around, our citizens are good. We have people in our communities that will not allow, if the police go down, for their cities to be looted. It's not going to happen. So we are so blessed, and I'm really happy to live in this county.
Sheriff, when you hear defund the police, I mean, what goes through your mind?
Oh, just craziness. It's they. I don't think that they want to get what they're going to get if they do that. The law enforcement are the people that stand in that gap between evil and good, and when that gap is removed, then there's just chaos. I think that the defund the police movement is a vocal minority. The quieter majority is, I think, like Dan said, is sitting back and saying, we're going to take care of our own. Don't bother coming here. So,
well, guys, thank you so much for your time tonight. We're ready for the closing comments. I think I may have said closing arguments earlier, but closing comments, and we'll set a time limit of 2 minutes. Sheriff, we'll start with you.
I just want to say that it's been my honor and privilege to work for the Custer County Sheriff's Office and the citizens of Custer County for the past 25 years, and especially so as their sheriff. I want to continue to do so. I think that I've done a good job. I've got wonderful coworkers and employees that do a marvelous job and make me look real good, better than I deserve, probably. So it's all I've ever known. I've done it. I've spent my entire adult career here in Custer County, waking up every morning, putting on a badge and wearing a gun and going to work, willing to stand in that gap for the citizens, and I want to continue to do that as sheriff. It would be an extreme honor. So I would appreciate the people's vote on June the 30th and vote for me to keep me as sheriff of Custer County.
All right. Thank you so much, Sheriff Kenneth Tidwell. Dan Day, closing comments from you.
I want to operate the sheriff's office in a professional, business-like manner in order to provide the people with the high quality of law enforcement that our citizens deserve. And my goal is for the entire department to be visible, to spend time interacting with our constituents in all business, sale barns, our ranchers, our farmers, and with all of our people in Custer County. We don't know the heartbeat of what our citizens are unless you're interacting with them. And by getting to know our people, it makes it a whole lot easier for the sheriff's office to understand how we can do a better job of serving the taxpayers that we work for. I have a passion for leadership, for problem solving and multitasking, and being able to make a decision based on the very best interest of the outcome for not only the persons that we are dealing with, but for us as well, to keep us safe. I too have been a long-time law enforcement officer in this county, and I've been invested in this thing longer than anybody else has in this county at the sheriff's office. And I want to be able to put my management style, the differences that I have in leadership and in administration, to be able to make this department, I feel like, the very best that it can be. And I feel like that the differences that I bring to the sheriff's office is, the first job is not putting on a gun and a badge. It's leadership, it's administration. It's getting the most out of what we have to deal with and to serve our citizens the best. So I'm looking forward to this election, and the difference between running in my election is the difference between night and day.
Oh, boy, there it goes. All right. Thank you so much, Dan Day, Sheriff Kenneth Tidwell. Once again, the election coming up on Tuesday night. Thank you both for your time, and good luck to both of you. And we'll see you guys on Tuesday night. We'll have the results right here on Coyote Country and News Talk KCLI. We'll be back with more right after this. The candidates for District 2 Custer County Commissioner coming up next, right after this break from Bank of Western Oklahoma.
A lot of customers asking, were they duped?
Collected fees in customers' names.
Are more of the big banks creating fake accounts too?
We don't know.
While some banks might give you the world, it sometimes comes at a cost. At Bank of Western Oklahoma, we continue to be your hometown banking friend, the one you can depend on, because we know it's not our money, but yours. Local, simple, personable. Bank of Western Oklahoma, where people come first. Member FDIC and Equal Housing Lender.
The Clinton Chamber of Commerce wants to invite you out for a night of fun, friends, and fellowship, followed by a Friday night cruise through Clinton. It's a Friends on Frisco event this Friday night. Starting at 5, bring your family and have some dinner from one of the food trucks. Enjoy some live entertainment and in the night drag and main. While you're there, don't forget to check out all of the fun shops and support your Clinton business owners. It's a Friends on Frisco event this Friday night from 5 to 9. See you there.
Real off-roaders know tires can make the difference between driving or walking home. From icy Oklahoma roads to scenic mountain roads, you're going to be tested. But don't worry, because we've got the Geolander XAT, and now nothing can stand in your way. Stop by Calkins Conoco to find out what a new set of Yokohama Extreme all-terrain tires can do for your truck or SUV. Discover the Geolander XAT at Calkins Conoco today. Specializing in quick lube, brakes, AC, diagnostics, tires and wheels, exhaust, and computerized alignment. Calkins Conoco is your full-service automotive center on Main and Weatherford.
When America needed us to build, we built. Masks, ventilators, shields. When local communities and frontliners needed support, Ford dealers answered. And now we're open and ready to serve you with special offers and deals across the Ford lineup. Stop by a Ford dealership or go online. We've made it safer to shop, easier to buy. Built for America. Built Ford proud.
You check things all the time, like your email every 10 seconds, or your ex's Instagram. But what about checking something as important as your credit? Well, Discover makes it quick, easy, and best of all, free. Discover is now offering FICO credit scores, the score used by 90% of top lenders, for free, even if you're not a customer. Checking your score won't hurt your credit, and you can check each month for changes, always for free. The Discover Credit Scorecard, free for everyone. Learn more at discover.com/credit scorecard. Limitations apply.
This is the sound of a delicious DQ Blizzard. This is the sound of a drumstick, the original Sunday cone. And this is the sound of these two summer icons coming together in the new DQ Drumstick Blizzard. Everything you love from a drumstick, including waffle cone pieces and peanuts, combined with our world-famous DQ soft serve. We're fitting more summer into every bite. DQ. Happy tastes good.
New Little Caesars stuffed crazy bread is finally here. 3 large sticks of melty, cheesy goodness stuffed inside our world-famous crazy bread. It's 2 great things in one, like a keytar, a zonkey, sports.
I can fork and spoon my food.
And chess boxing.
That's not a thing.
Look it up, it's totally a thing. And so is stuffed crazy bread with crazy sauce. Just $3.49, only at Little Caesars.
Pizza.
Available at participating locations plus tax. Prices higher in Alaska and Hawaii.
Hey, Dr. Danny, here's an interesting fact. Did you know on average a woman smiles 62 times a day, but a man only smiles on an average 8? What's up with that?
Seriously?
Seriously. You men need to up your smile game.
You're right, Dr. Kathy. Okay, guys, when you're ready to get serious about upping your smile game, call us at 225-6011. And like we always say at Fox & Fox Dentistry,
never underestimate the power of a smile.
Seriously.
KWEY is 50 years old, and we're celebrating with a giant birthday bash featuring the legendary Mo Bandy.
Any kid knows where to find me. I'm Bandy the Rodeo Clown.
Friday night, September 18th at the Pioneer Cellular Event Center in Weatherford.
It's a cheating situation. A stealing in invitation.
Come early for your chance to win $5,000 as we put on the biggest birthday party in Western Oklahoma with Mo Bandy, Tyler Wilhelm, and No Justice. Come celebrate with us Friday night, September 18th. Mo Bandy, No Justice, and Tyler Wilhelm at the Pioneer Cellular Event Center. Sponsored by PSO, the First National Bank, SWASU, Cummins, Western Equipment, and Pioneer Cellular. All right, welcome back to our Custer County Political Forum, brought to you tonight by Bank of Western Oklahoma. We heard from the two folks running for Custer County Sheriff. Now we're going to talk about Custer County Commissioner. We have, of course, 3 districts. We have 1 seat that is going to be opening up. So we're going to have the election coming up. Once again, it's actually a Republican primary, but all 3 candidates are Republicans. Imagine that in Custer County. So what's going to happen is if one person gets 50% of the vote, 50 plus 1, then he will be declared the winner. However, if no candidate gets 50% of the vote, then we'll take the top 2 vote getters and we'll do this all again on August 25th. And that means you get to spend more money on advertising, right? So everybody's excited about that. So I want to introduce the candidates. We'll go one by one. We'll start with you, Carl Bailey. Tell us a little bit about yourself. Give us kind of your background.
I was born in Thomas, Oklahoma, raised in Weatherford, pretty much. Right now, I'm married, have been married for 42 years, got 2 children, a son and a daughter, and 5 grandchildren. But I did go to most of my public school here in Weatherford. For some reason, I took 1 year in Siloam Springs, Arkansas, and I came back to Southwestern. So then I got some education from the VOTEC at Burns Flat, became a certified welder because at that time I was building bridges for Custer County. And then after that, I decided to continue my education at Southwestern and complete my electromechanical technology degree. So that's pretty much what I am.
All right. See, under the 90-second timeline, we're cruising. We got Tomasa back here, by the way, with her timer sign, so she'll be waving it if you guys start rambling, okay? I can ramble. No, I'm just kidding. All right, Chuck France, tell us a little bit about yourself.
I'm living here in Weatherford. I've been here more years here in Weatherford than anywhere in my life, 25 years, in and out of here as I was growing up as well. I'm married to Myra. She was born up in Thomas, and been married 30 years. And we chose Custer County because we wanted the best county in Oklahoma and Western Oklahoma, and this was the only one that we wanted to raise our family. Had great schools, good hospitals, and the college and everything was right here. And she wanted to practice here, so it was just a perfect place. It just allowed us to put our roots down here, and so now it's time to give back.
All right. And our third candidate is Bruce Walker. Tell us a little bit about yourself, Bruce.
Sure, thank you. I was actually born in Thomas also, raised in Weatherford. Lived here most all of my life. I actually moved to Clinton for high school, and within about 2 weeks after graduation, I was back in Weatherford, and I've been here ever since. And I've been involved in a lot of things. Over my adult life, I've done several different things. I also was an oil field welder in the early 80s and transitioned got into real estate sales eventually and ended up being a home builder for quite a number of years. And several years ago, I ran into the commissioner. I was ready. My parents were getting a little older, needed some help, and I was working too many hours. And I was ready for a break. And of course, Obamacare, the high cost of health insurance, I was ready for some benefits. So I went to work for the county, and I've worked out there the last 5 years.
All right. Well, let's kind of switch up the order this time. We'll try to be fair, and not everybody's going to have the same first question every time. Obviously, you'll all get the same questions, just different orders, what I'm trying to say. I'm on TV. I'm a little nervous. What's up with that? All right. Well, let's start with you, Bruce. Why do you feel you're the best man for the job in District 2?
Several reasons. Really, I think my experience for one thing, and I've done everything out there. The county. I started at the bottom and worked my way up through pretty much every position there. Ended up being the deputy commissioner and the road foreman. So I had experience, be on the working end of a shovel and being the boss. Saw a lot of that. Actually, I did a lot of things that a county commissioner would normally do. Went to a lot of meetings. I've sat in commissioner meetings, made lots of decisions. And so I have quite a little bit of experience there. And, county government's a little bit different. It takes a little while to kind of get your mind wrapped around that system. And I've been there long enough that I have a good understanding of it. A lot of hoops to jump through, a lot of regulations. But it's a good fit. For everything I've done in my adult life, it comes together and really prepares me to be a good county commissioner, I believe.
All right, Chuck France, why do you think you're the best guy for District 2?
Well, I believe I've got all the qualifications that anybody would want. I've done a lot of things as well. I grew up on a farm. I learned about what hard work was, perseverance, and a background working with dirt. We built terraces and took care of waterways, controlled how water flowed to keep it from erosion, tearing up the land. I think all that'll be valuable as a county commissioner. I've got a background in real estate. I've sold quite a bit of real estate, and I bought some, sold it, just whatnot and I sold a lot of crop insurance. I was a licensed crop insurance agent, and I co-founded a national brand of barbecue grills with a fellow that was born and raised here over on Shots. And my wife and we also have a small beef herd, and I think all of that stuff has helped me to learn how to manage and budget and stay in business. And I think all the things I've got qualifies me as much as anybody would need to do a good job. I've worked with a lot of people too, particularly in the manufacturing, and it did well. So I'm looking forward to working with the folks here and all the people in the community.
All right, and Carl Bailey, tell us why you're the best guy for the job.
All right, like I said earlier, I worked for Custer County previously, worked up to bridge foreman, spent a lot of time closely with the commissioner at that time and then the following commissioner. And over the past 9 years, my job has kept me in contact with county commissioners, sitting across the table from them, filling out permits, making sure that everything was done proper to keep our company proper as far as in guidelines, and keeping the county out of trouble. So also in my job, I was operations manager. I had up to 47 people under me before the oil field went south. And we, on those 47 employees, it takes a lot of management skills. I had them scattered over 4 states at one time. So a lot of communication goes on through the phone, emails, text. That was in conjunction with my monthly budget, which often my revenue was over $1 million a month. So handling the dollars was no problem. It was a very successful company, and I think that just really got me fit for the job.
All right. Thank you so much. All right, Chuck France, you get the next question, first time. In your opinion, what's the biggest issue facing the county, and how would you work to improve things?
Oh, the biggest issue, I don't think we have a lot of major issues and hurdles to go through. I think the county's, the commissioners that have gone before us have done a pretty good job of managing, and we got some big projects coming up. Some of the FEMA projects are just now starting to get funding, so that's going to be something that's got to be taken care of. A lot of people have been without bridges for a couple of years, and it's time for that. We got the Lauder Road project coming up. That should start sometime next year. That's going to be a big deal, and it's going to be a great improvement to Weatherford. It'll improve safety and make it wider. It'll aid in the growth of Weatherford, since that's the direction we're growing. And so we're going to have some shortfalls due to this coronavirus virus issue, and I think that's down the road a little ways. This budget's already been approved, so we're good for the coming year. But I know down the road we're going to have to tighten up things, and it'll be interesting to see what we really encounter. But I know I can pinch the pennies as tight as anybody. I did, by the way, grow up a Mennonite, and you know they can pinch those pennies.
All right, thank you, Chuck. Bruce Walker, biggest issue facing the county and your solutions?
Several big issues, and I know that because I've worked there. We have about 450 miles of road in District 2, and about half of those are paved. And a good life of a paved road is 7 to 10 years. And if you use that figure of 10 years, we need to be restoring 23 miles per year. Current commissioner's been there about 7.5 years, has paved around 60 miles of roads. So we're way, way behind on that. And that infrastructure is to the point, some of it's, there's not much left of it. So there's going to be a lot of road restoration. And I've made a commitment to safe roads and bridges, and I will restore roads and bridges. And it's going to be a big thing. It's going to take a huge amount of money because you can't just go back to paving 23 miles a year. You got to bump that up to ever catch up. So if you start paving 30 miles a year, it takes a huge time commitment and money commitment. You're going to have to be prepping a mile of road every week to week and a half, plus all your other regular duties. Lots of issues. We have some really good bridges out there. We maintain over 60 bridges, and of course we get a biennial bridge inspection and a yearly bridge inspection on critical issues. And there's things that we've had on the list we've just never made time to fix. And then also we've missed out on. I've worked through several FEMA disasters in recent years, and we've missed out on millions of dollars in federal assistance. There's a lot of hoops to jump through, but it's well worth the time. The next commissioner is really going to have a handle on that and be able to go after that federal money, get the work completed in a way that that it has to be done in the proper time frame and get that money in.
All right, thank you so much. Carl Bailey, biggest issue facing the county.
Well, I feel like the single biggest issue would be the FEMA projects. And also, we do need to maintain our roads. It's not just the FEMA projects. But there was 126 FEMA projects in District 2 of Custer County. And that's a lot of projects. They are about half completed. That's just a rough guesstimate. And FEMA has agreed to pay over $950,000 towards those projects. The county share will be somewhat around $126,000. So FEMA is helping a lot, but we have to keep all the paperwork in order. We have to make sure that FEMA approves every step that we make on every project, whether it's a bridge, a culvert, a washed-out road. That's probably the single biggest project. Also, equipment. These trucks travel lots of miles, but we just got to maintain them. We got to maintain the equipment that supports the trucks. So, but yes, if I had to pick one, I would say the FEMA project.
All right. Thanks so much. All right. We're talking with the three candidates for Custer County Commissioner, District 2. And this forum tonight brought to you by Bank of Western Oklahoma. We really appreciate them being involved. Okay. I think we're back to you, Carl, to start off this time. So we all know, because we talk about it all the time, roads and bridges, very important. But that's only part of the job of a county commissioner, and a lot of it has to do with financial things and being kind of the overseers of the county budget. Now, we've got the budget done for this year based on sales tax projections, but we don't know if those projections are going to be real. What if we have to, in the middle of this budget for the next fiscal year, make even more cuts? Is there a way that county government can be more efficient under your watch?
Yes. When you say more efficient than now, not necessarily. It all depends on the weather. It depends on the amount of traffic. If the oil field stays slow, the road maintenance isn't going to be as extensive. But at the same time, we're not going to have the revenue coming in from the oil field. So, it's a catch-22 there. You want the traffic because then we get the oil field revenue. But if we all of a sudden come up and we're a budget shortfall, we're going to have to address that. I can't look out ahead right now because I don't have the numbers in front of me. I don't know what we're dealing with. But yes, we would look at that just like any business, and we would make adjustments as necessary.
All right, Chuck France, ways for county government to be more efficient if it gets worse out there.
Well, efficiency's not going to be there when the money's gone. If the money comes, if we get a lot of cutbacks, we're going to have to quit doing as much as we used to. In other words, we're going to have to run the graders less. We're going to have to haul less gravel. We're going to have to do less road repairs. Those things, I hope they don't happen, but it's going to take. You're going to have to do with less people. That's the only way I know you're going to lean it out. I'm just hoping that it doesn't happen that way. But we don't know yet. We can't tell. There's been more of a rebound than a lot of people even expected so soon. So it just might be a big bump in the road, and we keep right on going. I hope the oil field comes back. That'd be a nice thing to help us. And the wind energy, it's almost here, and that's going to bring in extra revenue. So we may not be quite in as big a bind down the road as what some folks think we might be. So hopefully there's not going to have to be any cutbacks or layoffs, but we won't know that until we get there. But I think we're doing a pretty good job with what we got right now.
All right. And Bruce Walker, efficiencies, if oil and gas doesn't come back for another year, sales tax continues to be down. Your thoughts?
Sure. I believe, of course, our property taxes go up all the time. We have a lot of new homes in town that really help the property tax income. And I think our sales tax will rebound fairly quickly. Use tax should go up with time as more people go to an online culture. But as far as in the District 2 office, I know of several big wasteful items that can be cut out day one. And I've been self-employed most of my life, and I know how to squeeze and get a lot out of get a lot of bang for the buck. And so I think I'll be able to do that. We'll work more efficiently in our office and make wiser choices. I've seen a lot of money over the years spent on things that really went for nothing. So, but as far as all of county government, I think we'll be able to work across those, communication between the different offices and just encourage to get the most and also encourage the help, to encourage the help. So we're going to get the most out of those people, and they're going to like coming to work. We're going to be more productive with that, and I think this thing will surely iron itself out fairly quick on the little dip. Production on oil and gas is probably going to be down, but as the price per barrel comes up, the gross production tax is actually a value tax. So the higher the cost for a barrel of oil, the more money comes in. It's not per gallon or per cubic foot on natural gas. So,
all right. Once again, big thanks to Bank of Western Oklahoma for sponsoring our political forum. Our three candidates for Custer County Commissioner, District 2. It's the open seat. So once again, the election coming up on Tuesday. Chuck France, you get the next question. Okay, there's been a lot in the press really over the last couple of years, but recently we had the audit come out on CED7, and I know that it's been kind of a point of contention for county commissioners in this area. Do you think it's a good idea to continue with circuit engineering districts? And I know it's not the county commissioners that get to make that choice, but is that an extra layer of red tape that we need to do away with as a state? Your thoughts?
No, I don't think we should do away with it at all. I think that's offering us services and goods that we've got to have. And if we don't have our own CED, we could be buying it out of some enterprise in Oklahoma City or whatnot. But it's here. It's based in Clinton. Pretty good bunch of folks there. Got some good engineers. And maybe there's some ways that things could be leaned out there. I'm not sure until we get there. But yeah, I like it. I'm glad it's here, and we all use it.
Bruce Walker, your thoughts on CED7, the audit, the embezzlement, getting into other businesses? I mean, what are your thoughts?
It's a mess, and I've never thought that a government agency or a quasi-government agency should compete with private business, and that's basically what they did. All kinds of deception there. Our CD is probably one of the largest in the state. I've talked to commissioners in eastern Oklahoma. Their CD has 3 employees, and they're more of an administrative body. So, they do provide services, and it was intended to pool resources to help us to be able to have an engineer to help us with design, but it was more of a project-based thing. And this CED out here has really gotten big, and of course, the commingling of the funds between the county energy district and the Seven Oil joint venture. It's a mess. It's really a mess, and the taxpayers paid the bill for that. So it needs cleaned up, and I don't know if the state legislature will go back and revisit that. And there needs to be oversight on checks and balances on the way we spend any. That's the way county government is. That should be that way with all forms of government. CED needs oversight for sure.
Carl Bailey, your thoughts on CED 7?
I agree that the concept is very good. It might have got a little out of hand, but where I'm on the outside, I'm not privy to all the information, so I can't make a judgment from what I've got.
All right. Well, once again, we're continuing on with our candidates for Custer County Commissioner. District 3, we're certainly going to have a new face on the commission coming up soon. And, kind of ask these sheriff candidates about this as well. It seems like from time to time there's always a little contention between the county commissioners and the sheriff's office, sometimes the excise board, sometimes the county clerk, and I don't know if it's territorial. Bruce, I think it's your time to go first. Ways we can improve relations between all departments.
Well, I think communication is the key there. I'm a big communicator, and I've had some jobs in my life that customer service type jobs where, I was able to diffuse someone that was good and angry. And sometimes, passions come up and people get out of sorts with each other, but I think I'll have the ability to work with those people for sure. There's many times out here on the road we need the support of the Sheriff's Department, and also we used to get a trustee from the Sheriff's Department, and we haven't had that in the last couple of years. So I want to mend those bridges for sure and work with all those people, and we're all working together, and we're going to get a lot more done and more accomplished if we do work together. And I think just my attitude will help foster that attitude. I work well with Wade and Lyle, and that's the way county government works as far as the road maintenance. We share equipment and we share labor sometimes on bigger projects. So, but I'm all in on all that, and I love people. I communicate with people, and I've talked to both the sheriff candidates, whoever that is. I think we'll have a good working relationship, and along with the excise board and all the other county officers, I'll be good with that.
All right. Carl Bailey, improving relations between all departments.
I believe that very important that you treat each manager with the utmost respect, because they have a department just like we have, or we will have, whoever is the winner on this. But the very biggest thing is communication with respect. And like right now, it's what I've seen from going to the courthouse at least once a week. They're working very well together. But that's the big communication. So, yeah, I think it's going to be good.
Chuck France, improving relations between all departments.
I'm going to have to second what Carl said. I've been going to the courthouse for the commissioner meetings since January, and I'm not seeing a lot of problems or issues in the courthouse. I've spent enough time in there. I think I'll be able to sniff something out by now. People seem to be working well together. Lyle and Wade are both doing a great job, and the sheriff's office, I guess for the last 100 years, that's a joke, but there's always a problem. That's a huge, expensive operation, and money's always an issue. And so there's shortages there, and I think they're going to working on better plans for this coming year. And so there might be some problems that I don't see as far as relationships, but it seems like everybody's working pretty well together. I haven't been out at the county barn a whole lot, so I don't know really how the guys out there are getting along. I feel like that I probably need to stay out of there until the election's over. But I'm looking forward to, if there's relationship issues out there, I think I'm capable of resolving them. I've spent a good part of my life, most everybody's life is purely customer service anyway. That's what we do. If we're basically taking care of each other. So I think I can take care of those folks and find if there's a problem, we'll get it fixed.
All right, guys, we're just about ready for our closing comments. You each will have 2 minutes, but I've got another quick question that I just want to run down quickly, and it's probably only a 30-second answer. And once again, I'm a DJ. I'm not a construction expert, but I know it was a budgeted item, but we just learned recently that we're going to replace the windows in the courthouse, and it's $450,000 to do that, almost $500,000. Chuck, is that something we need to do? Is that a good price? I don't know.
Well, back when Rick Webb was the commissioner here, that's how long ago those problems have been going on a long time. The windows are shot. I think they're even original windows. I can't verify that for sure, but I thought I heard Rick say that once. And it's high time to get them. They're leaking. And from what Rick has said, and he was actually working on this project with the county before he retired back in May. But he said that price is really pretty fair, and he's in the construction business, so I think he knows. And so, no, I don't have a problem with that price yet.
Okay, Mr. Walker.
Sure. I'm a construction guy, and I'm a maintenance type guy. So I know one thing: it won't be any cheaper 10 years from now than it is now. I mean, so it needs to be done. The courthouse, the original courthouse, is very old and it's been added on to. And I've been to the meetings. They've done their due diligence. A lot of times, county purchasing, it has to be bid, and counties don't always get a good deal, but they're going to get a good quality commercial project. It's not like you're going to go to Home Depot and buy some windows and slap in there. So it's pretty much custom built, custom installation, and it's going to be expensive, but it will never be any cheaper than it is now, for sure. So
okay, Carl Bailey, your thoughts on the window project?
Absolutely, I was in the same meetings as what Bruce just referred to, and they did do their bidding the proper way, and yes, it's a very good product. If we don't replace those windows, the bill will get a lot higher because it is causing problems where it's leaking inside the building, in the walls.
Editorial comment: it always costs more when it's government paying for something, doesn't it? All right, guys, appreciate your time this evening. It's very informative for me and hopefully also to the voters out there. The election is coming up this Tuesday night. Polls will be open till 7. It might take a little longer to get all the results because a lot more absentee ballots, I believe, this time. And obviously there may be longer lines at some of the polling places because of social distancing. So we're going to start with Chuck France. 2 minutes why folks should vote for you.
Well, there's the big projects coming up, the Lauder Road projects. I want to see that built, finished up, and completed. That's a long-awaited project. I'm not coming to this position, if elected, to tell you that I know everything or have done everything or know all about everything. But I do believe that I have a lot of insight, and just with living nearly 60 years and working your tail off all your life, I've learned a lot about how things go. Been working together with different people that have been in county government in the past, and I think I probably forgot to mention, but I did start out as a young guy working at the county, and I enjoyed that. That's actually kind of why I decided now, at a point in time in life when I've got the time to do this job, and there was going to be an opening, or there is going to be an opening. That's why I decided to do this. So I really believe that I'll make Custer County proud, and I'll be a good steward of their money. I'll always be available. If people need to ask questions, I'm open-minded, and we'll try to reason through everything as things happen. I'm going to do my best to take care of Weatherford and Thomas both, and just keep things going. So,
all right,
thank
Chuck.
you.
Thank you so much, Carl Bailey. Closing comments.
Like I said earlier, I lived in Custer County almost my entire life, and I care very deeply for the people, for the communities. I was in Thomas today talking with the gentleman. They want to work closely with the county commissioners, which we did in the past, and I'm not saying we don't now. I just know that if I get in office, I will be working closely with them. Also, I like to spend my money local. On this campaign, it turned into a lot more dollars spent than expected, but I did the math, and 98% of my money for advertising was spent in Weatherford and Thomas. And so I intend to take care of my people. And so, yes, I would appreciate your vote June 30th for county commissioner, and I will be a commissioner with integrity.
All right. Thanks so much, Carl Bailey. All right. And Bruce Walker, final word is yours, 2 minutes.
County government has a really steep learning curve, and I believe that I have a 5-year head start on some of that. I believe that starting at the bottom, working my way up, I know probably every aspect of that. And of course, as road foreman, I was out checking out the problems. I've been under the bridges. I know these 450 miles of road probably better than any other person that there is, because I've been out there doing the work. So I have a real good handle on what's out there. And that takes quite a little bit of time to establish that, and it's hard to do it from an office, really, when you're burdened down with a lot of administrative type things. So, and then I also I think I've demonstrated throughout my life that everybody talks about serving. That's not something I'm waiting to be elected to serve. I've been serving people and meeting needs for most of my adult life, and I've served in all kinds of capacities through church, community service, Boy Scout leader. I mean, all kinds of things. So I'm a servant, and I think I'm a proven leader. You can ask some of those guys that have worked for me. I mean, not everyone is cut out to be out at the front. Sometimes leaders make changes, and people don't like change. So you have to be confident, and you have to be a good leader, but you also have to be a great communicator. And I think that's one of my strongest assets, to be able to communicate with people, because that's how we work out our differences. And I've met so many good, hardworking people out here in Custer County in the last 5 years, and everybody's just trying to do the best they can for their families. And if you'll give them the respect to meet them, and you can empathize with their problems, we usually always figure out a good solution that works good for everyone. And that's the joy of being out here in Western Oklahoma, just good people. And anyway, I think I have a whole lot to offer. I do believe I have quite a head start and quite an advantage just with being on the working end of things, working up to the boss. So,
all right, Bruce Walker, Chuck France, Carl Bailey, thank you guys so much for your time. And just a quick yes or no answer, Lauder Road really going to happen no matter who's elected for the people of Weatherford?
Yes, sir.
As far as working, I think all of us know it's what we've been told.
Okay.
Don't shoot the messenger if it don't happen.
There's a lot of pieces to the puzzle.
Yes,
I've
indeed.
got to follow through to make that happen.
All right, guys, once again, really, thank you so much for doing this. Thanks to everybody watching and listening on News Talk KCLI, 95.5 The Coyote, and, of course, on Coyote TV. I apologize for the shine from my bald head for you folks watching on Coyote TV. And big thanks to Bank of Western Oklahoma for making this thing happen. Get out and vote Tuesday, June 30th. God bless.